Okay, it's Jen the Liberty Lion, and we're going to go over processes. Okay, so there's a variety of processes people are using, and they're saying my process works. Another group is saying their process works, and so we're going to go over why a variety of processes work. And I'm going to add this video to the top of the podcast about the English language. Okay, so I'm reading what I wrote from my computer. Why a variety of processes might work. Often people argue about how their process works, but then so does a different process. The point is that the interruption of the process itself, depending on the particular interruption, the process may not go on. Just like the performance cannot continue without the proper actors saying the proper lines and doing the proper things. Particular interruptions work to stop the process. I want to be clear that a performance is not stopped or misfired or non-played by any random act. There are specifics as to how to stop a process. Each performance may require different non-played events or different misfires. If you don't know what these things are, you should watch the videos or listen to the videos in my podcast called English Language Used Deceptively. I'm not here to give any legal advice. I'm only telling you what's in Austin's book and in the podcast and my interpretation of his materials in his book, How to Do Things with Words. I want to talk to you for a moment about processes, procedures, as relates to Austin's book, How to Do Things with Words. Again, I'm talking about a book called How to Do Things with Words, which Austin should or could have called How to Stop a Performance. I think a title such as this would resonate with a lot of people today as they perform more unnecessary processes of doing paperwork to distinguish themselves as people not citizens of the United States or whatever they're trying to do. This may be why a lot of people claim their process works with the courts, but then a different process works also. They have touched on a misfire, or they have claimed to be a non-player, which is a type of misfire. That the court lacks jurisdiction, which is also a misfire, or in other words, they have disrupted the play, the process, or the performance in such a way that the act being performed against them no longer has some critical means for the use of force. In other words, they cannot act against you because you've disrupted the process. They lack authority or jurisdiction or whatever. But perhaps you have the wrong idea as to why your process works or has worked. The videos in this podcast, based on Austin's book, How to Do Things with Words, will help you understand procedures, but will also help you understand how to disrupt these procedures. I go over disruptions in procedure called by Austin misfires. We go over abuses, which are problems but do not ultimately end the process. So in other words, if you assert your right to do or not to do a thing, and the required process is interrupted, the procedure stops and a so-called authority cannot act against you. If you don't sign the ticket, the court cannot order you to appear and cannot force you to pay anything, to pay or do anything. If you do sign it, you cannot just not appear. Just like using the United States dollar is an act and makes you a player. It can be implied, such as you simply performing the act of using it, passing it, or exchanging it, whatever. It can make you an express player by contracting with it, depositing it, withdrawing it, and whatever. It makes you a player, express or implied. You accepted your part of the game. Austin has 3 types of performances or performatives: locutionary, illocutionary, and perlocutionary, each being a part of the process of doing something or performing some act, or the results of the act. We'll talk about these in the videos to come that are over his book. This is your primer for the videos in this podcast and what you need to know about processes, why they work, why they don't work, how to make them work, and how to stop them from working. Okay, so like, share, and subscribe. This is Jen the Liberty Lion. We're going to be talking about Austin's book, How to Do Things with Words, which could ultimately be called How to Stop a Process or a Procedure or a Performance. And I hope that you will listen to the rest of the videos. They're very insightful, I think, and they're all based on, like I said, his book. So it's probably one of the best books that I've found so far on questions that a lot of people are asking out there about the system and how it works and why it works for some people and not other people. So this is your primer for that. And with that, I'll see you in the next videos.